Hi, everybody. Sam here. Hope you're having a great day wherever you're at in the world today. I am so excited to be here for another micro interview. I have my friend Jen here. She's going to share a tip, a thought, a piece of advice with you. And I wanted just to welcome you first. If you are new to Safe Heart Connections and you've just recently found us, we're so glad you found us. If you've been around for a while, we're so glad you're back. We're an online community group for women that are working on learning to love ourselves more fully. And by default, we can have the lives we were meant to have. And Jen is one of the beautiful souls that I've got connected to on this journey. And I am so excited to share her with you. And Jen, I know you have a great thought, tip, or piece of advice you want to share with women today. So go ahead and take it away.
Hey, hello, ladies. Hello, Sam. I'm so thrilled to be here. I'm actually honored, and I'm only recently putting myself out there a little bit more to talk about what I do, because what I do is going to resonate with many of you who have been experiencing what I call good girl conditioning. And much of what I want to do here is to create an awareness of the fact that it exists. It's a thing. And if I were to ask you, if you consider yourself a good girl, I'm imagining many of you are going to raise your hands, right? And good girl conditioning is a thing. It's been around for a while. My coaching is something that I've been drawn to women to help women. That's a whole story. But I discovered that when the term good girl conditioning came up, and it was from a book, which was Good Girl Conditioning by Michelle Minikin. And I have a couple good book tips for you. She's out of the UK. Her book just came out like this year. And as immediately I knew, snap, that's me. That summarizes everything that I do. That captures so much in the women I have worked with. And it's the conditioning that we have subconsciously adopted as our identity and been living in false identities for much of our life. I'm talking many women in midlife, getting in their 50s and 60s, only realizing that they've been living with this mask, not very authentically, not very boldly, because they don't really know who they are. And think about it, whether it's society that conditions us to be compliant, to be helpers, whether it's the church, whether it's the school environment, whether it's the work environment, particularly if you work in environments where there are mostly men, it's very male dominated, we're conditioned to wear this identity that is not true to us. We could go on about that, but that's largely the realm of work that I do with women in my business, Jen Silbert Coaching, and now my new love, which is called Good Girl Gone Bold. And I am working with women who are starting businesses, who've been building businesses and are finding that they keep getting pulled back and becoming wallflowers and really buying into that inner critic that tells them they're being too loud, they're being too obnoxious, they're being a rebel, they're too opinionated. I could go down the list, right? Anybody recognize themselves? And this is the realm of what I call unlearning. So we subscribe to a lot of personal development training. We want to learn. We want to learn. That's what girls do. That's why statistically, girls they outperform boys in school because we're such great students. And this is why women get out into the workforce, and there are more master's degrees, I believe, being awarded to women than there are to men these days. We're the consummate learner. And women tend to feel like they need to have more labels and degrees and certificates behind their name to legitimize their value in the world. And what I'm going to do is work with you to help you to unlearn a lot of that conditioning, identify where it comes from, identify what kind of good girl you are, the yes girl, the people pleaser, the approval seeker, the wallflower, the perfectionist. I've got all these different archetypes. Find yourself in that. And now what we do is we start reverse engineering where that came from so that you can connect with your true identity. And through that, what we're going to do is connect you more with your intuition. Because a lot of us have been living out of our head, subscribing to the expectations of everyone around us, being the good girl, being compliant. Yes, 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 I'll do whatever you want because I want to be the good girl. And we haven't really connected inside and discovered who we authentically are, and then stepped into that, what I call personal power, to say, you know what? I'm great. I'm arrived. I'm enough. I don't have to keep learning. I don't have to keep getting more certificates. I don't have to keep doing more and more and fixing myself to become perfect, to be lovable, worthy, etc. And I feel like this is how I connected with Sam because when I saw her work that emphasized self-love and what ties in is self-compassion and self-trust, all the self stuff, right? We're a team here. And am really just so excited to share this other angle and this other element of self-love, which I really think is really accepting yourself for who you are. It's really,
100%. Yeah. And
yeah.
I'm standing with you because I agree with everything you said. When I started my healing journey, one of the things that I recognized was I didn't love myself ultimately. But what that meant was I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what mattered to me. I didn't know what I liked, what I didn't like. I had never gone to a movie by myself. There was just things. And so figuring out who I am was a critical first step in this process. But what I also learned several years later, like it's been a whole journey all these years since 2015, is that I was still, even though I was learning who I was doing things that I thought the world said I should do
Yep.
instead of what I wanted to do. And once I learned who I was and started acting on those things and just being who I am, knowing that I am loved, period, hard stop, end of sentence, not because of anything I do or say or don't do or say, just because I am. And that's what I help women learn to build that. And so you can take it to another level of you really dig in on this good girl thing. And I so resonate with that. And it's totally do. I tell my women though, it's okay to be a people pleaser as long as you remember that you're a people and start with you. Right.
And
And
that's a
so
good
take care of
line.
yourself first.
That's a
Right.
good line. Yeah, I was conditioned from really from childhood to be a good girl, and I wasn't allowed to have a differing opinion. My growing up environment was very enmeshed, so we were not allowed to have our own opinions. And the trouble with that is eventually you have to integrate into society. And somewhere along the line, you need to stand up and advocate for yourself, whether it's with the car salesman who's trying to rip you off on buying a car because you're a woman and he thinks he can get one over on you. And you've got to have the self-belief that, and the gut instinct. We have gut instinct. We recognize when things aren't right. We're just afraid to assert ourselves. But it might be the doctor is trying to talk you into a new prescription and you're like, no, I don't think that's what's wrong. Or I'd like an alternative, please. We see these authority figures as the end all gods out there that we should obey, hello, compliant. And in the end, that's not really aligned with who we are. So what I want you to walk away with is a couple um, goals here. Redefine and realign. And I said all about redefining success. That's how it started. Because I wasn't buying into what my peers and society was telling me was what success looked like. But you're also going to be redefining your identity. When you unlearn from the good girl to become a bold girl, you're redefining, and then you have to realign because you've been operating out of a false identity, a false definition of success. You might have been pushing yourself, not honoring your boundaries, not saying no because why? It's only going to take me a minute. And they're nice people. So I can just do it. I didn't need to go out tonight. But you're going to realign now your actions and your life.
Yeah.
So,
I call boundaries the B word. And
yes, be,
because it's so true. And it's even if it only takes you a minute and it's not meant for you, one of the things that I really have learned over the years is that when I say no to something and it serves me better to say no, then that gives an opportunity for somebody else that could say yes, that's more in agreement or alignment to actually do that thing.
it's good. It's good. But I think also if you open up the door, even if you leave a crack, people will take advantage of that. And you'll find yourself eventually something will happen and you'll finally realize, I can't do this anymore. And usually by that point, you've reached a breaking point and you've compromised yourself for too long. But think about this, particularly if you're running a business, if you are managing a team, think about the self-respect. What vibe do you send out that people will pick up on, that they can take advantage of you, that you're always going to be there for them, that you're a pushover? It's a big struggle to cross over, particularly if you're a woman of faith. I'm telling you, we could go on about this because having been raised in a Catholic household and gone to Catholic grade school, guilt was a very familiar manipulator. And if I was going to color outside the lines, boom, press the guilt button, right? So forget about boundaries. But yeah, you have that awakening, a smack in the face of some kind where you burn out, you fry out, you get sick, your husband leaves you,
Yeah,
your
yeah.
kids, whatever it
It
is.
can get really messy really quickly. And so
Yeah.
by learning to protect yourself first and provide for yourself, and it's not that we don't need each other. We do. We need the other people in our world. And it's definitely not about being selfish. The way that I teach it is definitely not selfish. I know what you're teaching is not selfish either. It's about making sure that your cup stays so full to the overflow, like I say, where you give out of the overflow of your life and then you can still take care of you. Jen, we could do this all day long. I know we could. And I'm so glad that we're connected. But I like to keep these kind of 10 minutes or so. So the ladies will watch it. They'll know who you are. We'll make sure that all your links are around this video or audio where they're
You,
watching so they can click through. You are on school. And
I'm
so
on school, good
if
girl
you're
gone
watching,
bold.
if you're wanting to click through and play around, if you're in the community and you want to reach out to Jen or see her community, I'll make sure that's linked there too. And I'm just so excited to be connected with you. I know we're going to do some more things in the future. Do you have any kind of closing thoughts before we wrap?
Go bold. Don't be afraid to go bold. Really. There's a up leveling there's being confident and there's being bold. For the record, the reason that I've now chose this word to own this word, which is bold in and of itself, because it's making some kind of declaration, which scripturally, that's what we do. When we want to claim something, we declare ownership over it. But we're afraid to do that because we're afraid that we're not worth it. But I had a client one time who came to me and her number one goal was to go bold. And I was there to help her. And she's the one that inspired me to claim that word. And now when I say good girl gone bold, the right women know exactly what that means.
I know exactly what it means. And I'm so glad we're connected. So I hope you have a great day and I can't wait to share this with the women.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.